Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. I'm going to be doing a sketchbooks and journals of 2019 to round out the year, although by the time I post this it'll be well into January, knowing me. So here's everything that I finished off, or at least started, in 2019. It looks like a lot, but this pile here is only just started, whereas most of these are completed. And some of these are quite thin, so I know a lot of people on my Instagram when I posted this were like, oh my god, that's so many. But in all honesty, like, some of these are really, really thin little booklets. So I'm going to just quickly show you what they all are and what I learned, how I've changed over the last year, and what I'm planning to work on in 2020. So let's start off with the biggest, because why not, and show you guys. This is probably the first year I've tried using like a major sketchbook. Because someone posted on one of my YouTube videos, they were like, hey, do you actually have like a sketchbook that's just for like raw ideas, like where you just practice and things like that? And I realized I don't. So this is my first time using a big sketchbook since like high school probably. And as it turns out, I'm not actually capable of like using a sketchbook the way it's meant to be, which is just to like practice and just like put anything in. And so a lot of this is still like almost a completed piece. Like for me, I consider it practice, but it was like, it's more for experimentation versus like anything else. So for me, I use this sort of as a capsule of like a certain time period. So for me, this is summer of 2019, and it has like all the stuff I was working on at that time, and I really loved it. I love the fact that it was big. I could go into more detail when it comes to portraiture, which I love. I didn't have to worry about creating like a spread like I do for my art journals. I could worry more about just having fun, because I wasn't really planning to show any of these pages to people. I did a quick flip through of it and everything, but in all honesty, this was much more like for myself than for anybody else. So that's the sketchbook. You can see a full flip through where I explain my process and what I used and all that in my videos, and you can find that down below. My next one's already ready to go. It's this very, very bright pink one. It's only got about 2 or 3 pages in there so far, so I'm going to be taking that into 2020. And next up is going to be, let's go small. We went big, let's go tiny. These guys here. So the Field Notes mini art journals, I use these because I originally had like a whole stack of these Field Notes that I used as like to-do lists, grocery shopping lists, all that kind of thing. And then when I was finished using them, I would paint over or paste over every single page, which is why they're so chunky, and then turn them into mini art journals as a way of like repurposing them. Again, you can find flip throughs of this down below. I think this one is finished. This one needs like a couple more pages before it's done. And I really enjoy working in these because of the opposite of the bigger ones. It makes me kind of get to the point much faster. I can put in like quick little doodles, I can put in quotes, little drawings. I can go small and really random without like having to sort of like worry about creating like a whole piece. So it's really fun working with these, and I have a bunch more that are like ready to go, but I've been feeling a little bit like weirdly pressured with these lately because of their because of the paper. I kind of want to almost just like repurpose the cover and then add in my own watercolor paper, simply because like this is kind of a bit limiting. Like I have to paste in everything, which is why they're so chunky. But I'm just like not really loving that anymore. But then if I just paste in my own paper, am I still repurposing them? I don't know. I haven't quite kind of settled on my thoughts and feelings about it yet. So I'm going to finish this one off and then kind of decide what my next one is going to look like, because I do still love the Field Notes, and I really love the covers especially, so I'm going to see if I want to keep using them the way I'm using them now, or go in a new direction with them. So that's the plan. So this one is completed, and this one has about 2 or 3 pages left to be finished before I do a flip through of it, so almost done. The other thing I did was this little guy here. Someone on Tumblr asked me, hey, can you give a quick tutorial on how you bind your own notebooks? And I said, yeah, sure. So I made this one really quickly. And then I'm like, well, I might as well use it. So basically what it is just sketches. So like a smaller version of my sketchbook. And I've just been having fun with it without like really worrying too much. I do about 2 or 3 pages a day. I'm about halfway through. almost exactly halfway through. And so I'll do a flip through of this one coming up soon. Unfortunately, because of the paper quality, I can't do things like watercolor, which is one of my favorite things to use. So I have to like know, okay, I can use pencil, I can use this, but I can't use any like ink or anything like that. So I have to kind of be careful with that, which limits things a little bit, but it's fine. It's not a huge deal. So I'm hoping to have this one done probably by the end of January. And then let's see. So these are my personal notebooks. I've never posted about these on YouTube, I don't think. I've posted a flip through of maybe 1 or 2 of them on Instagram, but I don't really share these, mainly because they hold a lot of personal information and not always my personal information, because I talk about other people and I don't want that to be an issue. So these are all basically about my day, about my feelings, about anything that I want to write about. And this is like for me a way to like use up washi tape, essentially. Like I try to use up as much as I can. And so yeah, so this one was using, they're all hand bound by myself. This one was a painted front cover. This one was using scrapbook paper. So these are the ones I did in 2019. And I am planning next year in 2020 to use a junk journal. So this is again hand bound by me, and a junk journal, if you guys have ever tried or seen these before, basically uses like mixed paper. So for me, I used a lot of vintage paper, so music notes, lots of like parchment paper, illustrated encyclopedia things. There's some books as well. And the reason why I personally love junk journals, so many people ask me, they're like, so what's the point of it, is for me it's like a starting off point. Like if you're trying to get into journaling, if you're trying to turn it into a habit and you want your journals to like look nice so that it motivates you to write more, or to, you know, to use it up and to fill it in, which is why I always, like, people are like, why do you need to make it look pretty? Like, why can't you just write? And I completely agree with you. Like, if that's what works for you, that's great. But for me, having it look nice is like a motivation for me to complete it. And then I feel good about filling them in. So that's kind of like why I make them look the way they do. And so for me, a junk journal is really great because it gives me a jumping off point. Like it already gives me, okay, well, I've got a page here with some words. I can do blackout poetry. I can paint something in here. There's, you know, stuff I can already do simply because it's art, it's there. Like here I've got music notes, and I'm like, that gives me inspiration in a sense. I don't know if I can explain it right, but like here, like there's a grid, and I'm like, okay, well, I could use this page for what it is, or I could write it, or I could add stickers. I could do whatever I want, right? And I just like having that sort of jumping off point to inspire me to like write more. So that's kind of the point of junk journals. I do sell these if you are interested. I'll link my shop down below if you'd like. I think it took me about 3 years to get all of the paper together, and then I bound like 30 of them at once. So I'm using this one for myself. I'm saving 2 or 3 for myself because I really love how they turned out. But yeah, so I do sell them as well. So this is what I'll be using into 2020. To sort of not replace these, but as I'm going forward with my own personal journaling. And then come these guys here. These are my art journals of 2019 that are completed. Those are the ones that are not yet completed. So these are all posted. You can find flip throughs of all of these in my channel. I go over each one individually, and you can find out the meaning behind them, like what I used. This was the Stillman and Birn Nova edition. This is the Stillman and Birn Epsilon edition, or series, whatever you want to call them. And I use these as like a finished work of art. So they're completed. They're not a sketchbook, because I've had people get mad at me for it. They're like, you can't call these sketchbooks. Like, this isn't what my sketchbook looks like. I'm in no way like shaming people. I can't do a sketchbook apparently, because everyone's like, no, it's supposed to be messy and like stuff you practice. Completely agree. I practice on paper and then I feel really bad about how it turns out, and then I recycle it. And if I do like how it turns out, then I put it into like an official sketchbook, which is why I call these art journals as opposed to sketchbooks, because I know people get like really, they're like, that's not what a sketchbook is supposed to look like. So art journals is what I'm calling them to kind of get around that. So yeah, so these 2 are finished. Again, all of my own stickers. If you are interested in buying them, I will link my shop down below. And then these are the ones I will be working on completing going into 2020. So I basically just started most of these in the last maybe like month or two. So this is the Moleskine watercolor sketchbook, which I have been enjoying quite a lot. I kind of, my love affair with Moleskine sort of fell apart recently, or in the last like 2 years, because of their sketchbook version. Like they have an Art Plus sketchbook, and I was like, this is terrible. So I switched to Stillman and Burn, but the watercolor one is quite good. You can see a video about that on my channel as well. And then this is the Stillman and Burn Nova edition with the tan pages. And again, I just started it a little while ago, and yeah, I really love these. Highly, highly recommend them. The quality is fantastic. And then this one is about half finished as well. This is the Zeta edition, so the pages are really, really thick. You can get like lots of watercolor on here. It's really great. So yeah, but just started really. I didn't really get very far on this one. So yeah, so those are the sketchbooks and notebooks, personal journals, whatever you want to call them, of 2020. Sorry, 2019. What am I talking about? Going into 2020, my goal is to finish off these 3. My next goal is going to be my junk journal, and then the big sketchbook, which I'll be working on a lot slower because I finished this one really fast, but my next one I want to go a little bit slower, as well as a couple of larger projects as well. But yeah, so those are journals of 2019. Hope that was interesting for you guys. And yeah, I definitely recommend trying out larger and smaller sizes, because you'll realize that your artwork will change along the way. So hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.